Hello everybody, we are here today with Mike Zaya from Medius. We heard a lot of people ask questions. Hey listen, what's it like to talk to a commercial printer? What are some of the things that we need to talk about when discussing the i300 and the applications that would fit within a commercial printer? Mike has been gracious enough to have us actually film a customer testimonial, which you will be seeing in January, and then also agreed to answer some questions specifically about the commercial print mix with the i300. So Mike, glad to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
I kind of introduced you already, but why don't you do a brief introduction of yourself as well as a little bit about Medius as a company.
Sure. My name is Michael Zaya. I'm the Vice President of Operations at Medius. We're an offset printing house, digital print, wide format, fulfillment, and e-commerce.
Perfect, thank you very much. The questions that I've gotten, I didn't create. We got these questions from members of our Mob Squad, which is our sales council that comes and meets twice a year. So these are some of the pressing questions that they have. I'm going to read it directly off my phone. We're going to go for it. Ready?
Okay, great.
All right, first and foremost, what were some of the challenges that you currently experienced that made you look at inkjet as an opportunity?
You know, the cost on toner devices has pretty much increased year after year after year. So we were looking for a device where we could actually reduce costs of print, get better quality print, and more consistency. And so the i300 actually has done that. Maintain the consistency so we can print something today, print something a week from now, or print something a year from now, and it looks identical. Where our other toner devices, if we printed something today, tomorrow we'd print it, and it would look totally different.
And you know, so it's funny, you say you're doing a lot of different applications. We did bring two of the applications with us. So why don't you walk us through these real fast, just a basic understanding of what these applications actually are.
These are actually our new calendars that we're producing for this year. And you know, we actually have images that we produced on our i300, high quality image, full print, full color images that go through pretty much the whole spectrum of colors. And if you looked at this any other time, you would think it was offset quality, but it's actually done on our i300.
And similarly, I saw this today, and I was a bit blown away, to be honest with you. This is your basic customer manual. This is for a bike catalog. I'll let you explain a little bit more.
Sure. So actually, we used to print this on the offset press.
Oh wow.
And during those runs, we'd print 5,000 to 10,000 units and ship them out to our customer. So our customer needed small amounts because they were doing a little focus group for their customers. So they came in and asked us, okay, we only need to produce 500 of these. So what's the best economical way? So we printed out this on the i300, and when we brought it up to the press prints that we actually had, they pretty much looked identical. I mean, you couldn't tell that these were done on a digital device.
And I also understand that these you did versioning, and this catalog covered the entire globe. Do I have that correct?
Exactly. So we had German versions, Spanish versions, English versions, Asian pack
Languages.
versions. Yes.
Yeah. As I look around here today, and we're not going to show this, but this is your very typical commercial printer. There are a lot of competitive toner devices in this room as we speak right now.
Correct.
And then there, of course, there's this massive one behind us which does an amazing job. What makes you decide which applications are printed on your competitive toner devices versus the i300?
Well, typically we're trying to migrate a lot of the work onto our i300 because it can take the work. You know, it can produce about 10 million prints a month. So I mean, we're pretty much only about 60% of that. So we're trying to migrate a lot of our print over to it. The only print that we don't do on there is probably just some covers that we actually have for some customers that require some type of coating.
How much, what percentage of all the work, how much of it have you been able to move over to the i300?
I would say 80 to 90% has moved over to the i300 from when we purchased it.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So along that same line, are you staying with one stock or a range of stocks routinely?
We have actually probably about 20 different stocks that we use. So it's not just text paper. We have dull stock. You can see with those dull covers. We use a lot of 100-pound cover stocks, for the covers, stuff like that.
Now the next question is a loaded question, and I understand that. So you are, again, as a reminder, in Northern California.
Correct.
And one of the questions that has routinely come out is about gloss stocks. And I know that you had some challenges with gloss stocks. So explain that challenge. I actually think it's worth mentioning, and then explain how we've been able to overcome it.
So for gloss stocks, for the machine, we actually have some paper stocks that do 80-pound gloss cover. Mm-hmm. So we run those through. Our issue is with 100-pound gloss cover, mm-hmm. and typically we run that on another device and we'll insert it into the book as we run the text. So some of them we have certain stocks that look glossy in it, and that we can actually run through it, and
But so I'm just going to speak specifically. So Northern California, and let's just be honest about this, there was a struggle to get gloss stocks, right?
yes,
They didn't exist.
correct. For the West Coast, it's hard to get papers, and most of the papers were calibrated for East Coast papers. So we've been trying to qualify a lot of papers. Then it takes time to get qualified, and then we have to test them out to make sure it fits our application. So it does take a while, but the West Coast paper stock is starting to build up, and we've gone through we have probably about 200 different stocks on our list of papers that we can use, and it's growing every day.
And the reason why that's important is because we've heard from a lot of our members in the sales in the field that gloss stocks are an issue. And if I'm going to talk to commercial printers, we want to make sure that gloss stocks are something that's always available. It wasn't so easy on the West Coast. We've overcome that. I know that you guys use the Verso Blazer. I know there's a couple other stocks that we're looking to work to approve within our media lab, and that will all come to fruition here in the coming weeks. So a couple other questions again from the field. How does the support from Canon stack up against the support from your competitive toner devices?
Oh, well, it's night and day. I mean, if we call our Canon support person right now, within an hour he'll be here. With our other device, I mean, we have a device right now that's down, and it's been a week now. We're still waiting for someone to come in to fix it.
Now, you also said something very interesting in the video, which was uptime, and you heard a lot of our customers tout a certain uptime. I'll let you tell the story.
I mean, we love the machine because of the uptime. I mean, we're getting 97% uptime on this machine, and even I think that's even a low number. I think it's probably a little bit higher than that, but I mean, it's just runs.
People were talking about 95% uptime, and your comment was,
"Is it that low?"
Right? Is it that low? Which I think is hilarious. Yeah. Couple questions about the profitability of the i300. As you've been migrating jobs from toner equipment onto the i300, how have you seen your profitability on these jobs?
Yeah, so previously we used to run a lot of our color books on our other devices, and the cost was almost 4 times as much as what we're currently running on the i300.
Okay, and then what about the customers who you've given work that has come off the i300? How has their satisfaction been? Are they happy? Are they satisfied?
Yeah, I mean, some customers we didn't tell them we're switching devices, or that we're not doing offset on their work, that it's going over to the i300, and none of them even knew the difference. Other customers that we actually went through and said, hey, we want to qualify you to show you what the actual i300 can do, and they love it. I mean, with this bike magazine.
Which it was a perfect example.
Yeah.
Something that was done on offset and now done on inkjet allows for the versioning, for the variability of it, which is something that before you would have had to do on an offset machine, which is again a lot more costly and a lot more time consuming.
Correct.
So speaking of offset, how much of the work have you been able to migrate from offset onto inkjet?
So we've moved about 20% of our work over from offset to digital, and that's because of it looks identical.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't tell the difference between offset or the i300.
And speak to that for a second on color consistency. So color consistency, I know, has been a big issue on the toner side. We hear it all the time. How's it been with the i300?
The great thing about the i300 is if we printed something 3 or 4 months ago, we can actually produce it exactly the same today without having to change anything.
Which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
So if you were talking to a prospective commercial printer that was looking to get into inkjet, to acquiring an i300, what would be some of the steps that you would advise them to take? What would you tell them would be their first step of due diligence?
Well, I mean, we looked at a lot of manufacturers for inkjet technology. At first we started out with toner devices, and as soon as we found inkjet, we decided that toner devices weren't the way to go. And then we actually did cost analysis, what it would cost. And then after we figured out that, hey, this device actually is 4 times less than any other device, then we started saying, okay, let's have all these vendors do print samples for us. So we gave everybody the paper, we gave everybody the images and the files that we needed done, and when we printed it out on all these different devices, the i300 was pretty much day and night. I mean, the colors were vibrant, I mean, the quality was high, and that's why we went with the i300.
which is awesome news.
Yeah.
And again, so what any other tips you would give to a commercial printer looking at the i300? Is it an application mix? Is it just basically cost savings and they're going to make more money with their company?
It's cost savings and quality. I mean, those things, I mean, in business you have to save money, and also you have to provide your customers with quality work.
Right.
So, and those two key things are actually why we actually bought the i300, and that's what everybody should look at. They should ask for prints. They should say, hey, look, this is what you get on the i300, and this is what it actually costs to produce this piece. And pretty much you'll decide inkjet is the way to go.
So this is a silly question, but going way back in the day before you actually entertained the notion of buying it, what was your first step? So when you met with your rep, when you met with Liz, right, what was the first step? Was it samples, and were the samples, were they good enough to believe, or did you think that we were kind of pulling the wool over your eyes?
Well, the first thing when they first talked about the machine is they said, this is what it's going to cost, and here's some samples. And when you look at the samples, yeah, great, they were done in a lab, you know, you can make anything look good.
Yep.
So I said, okay, here's our files.
Yep.
Go print it on this paper, and then bring it back, and let's take a look at it. And that was pretty much what convinced us.
Which is great to know. So now you've been partnering with Canon here for the better part of the last year. Can you tell us what it's been like to work with us? And again, this is being brutally honest.
Yeah.
Let's exploit any issues that we may have. What's it like to work with us?
Well, you know, the biggest problem I have is that you guys actually call me too much.
Okay, well, that happens.
Pretty much, I mean, the support and everybody has been exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had any issues with the customer service, with the sales group, the engineering group,
Marketing.
the installers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything pretty much went seamless. We had pretty much no issues. I would say if I had to choose a vendor that was overall best, it would be Canon.
And thank you for that. You know, it's I got to say on the outset, you know, Mike has been with us now for about a year, right?
Yeah.
We've done a customer event at his site, which was a fantastic event here on the West Coast. He now did a customer testimonial. He is a great person, and this is a great company. And the reason I bring that up is not because he's standing here and I feel like he could beat me up. It's really that you've got nationwide coverage. So if you're looking for companies to partner with, or looking for your customers have West Coast facilities and they don't have an opportunity, talk to Medius. These guys have been a great partner of ours, and we look forward for the future. So Mike, thank you so much.
Hey, no problem. Thank you guys.
No worries.
Thank you.